This podcast is brought to you by all of our amazing anime addicts around the world. Right now, we're doing our Anime Oscars voting. If you want to vote in our Anime Oscars, it takes literally about 10 seconds. Go to animeoscars.com. Animeoscars.com, just how you think it would be spelled. You can vote in a variety of categories: best boy, best girl. We've got best fantasy, most surprising anime, the best, and of course the worst. If you want to vote in our Anime Oscars, go to animeoscars.com right now and vote. Make your vote count. That way you'll have something to root for when we reveal the winners later on. Again, that's animeoscars.com.
Get ready! You're about to listen to the Anime Addicts Anonymous podcast. Make your anime addiction worse at AAApodcast.com. And now, here are your anime addicts.
And welcome to the 700th and 17th episode of the Anime Addicts Anonymous podcast. My name is Caroline, back from a trip to see Mitsugi here. Hey Mitz, it's long time no see.
Yo, what up? What up? I'm chilling. I'm ready to fuck shit up today.
And I just want to say, people, like, the room that he podcasts in is much smaller than it looks. I was so surprised when I saw it. I'm like, oh my god,
It's also my
this
office.
is the room. It is so much smaller. Oh my god. Really surprising. And we also have Mason. Hello, Mason.
Hello there. Any comments about my abode?
Well, I've never been there, so
Good.
Stay the
you
fuck
can provide
out.
your own comments.
No girls allowed.
Yeah, exactly. It says that on the door with the R spelled like backwards.
Girls are
Yeah.
smelly.
And it's so sad that you're not joining us in the city this Saturday.
I
for our
know,
little
I'm
meetup.
sorry. You should have great weather for it. But yeah, what are you
I
actually
know.
doing? Let the people know.
We are going to the Avatar: The Last Airbender live orchestra concert.
No way!
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. And I feel like once this episode comes out, they're like, oh my god, there was a meetup and I didn't hear about it. Sorry. This was like a long time planned thing in the Discord that I just totally forgot to really promote here.
Just remember.
Yeah, so.
Just remember, when you want to go and you couldn't, you know who to blame. It's Caroline.
Well, I did talk about it when we were buying tickets. Right now, the tickets are all sold out.
Sweet
And
Caroline, she's to blame that you couldn't go to New York.
I'm sorry.
New York,
I'm
New
sorry.
York.
I'm sorry.
Bum, bum, bum. Okay, that was
Yeah,
cringy.
so, but I mean, if anybody's listening now and is in the New York City area, you can at least join us for dinner. Just let me know on Discord and I'll give you the details. But yeah, I'm very excited. I'll be sure to tell you guys all about it next week. But for this week, we have some things coming up, like our Anime Oscars. We are going to go over some of the nominees. And we also have a review of the Eminence in Shadow Season 2. And just to go over the other housekeeping stuff that I totally skipped over, you can join us on Twitch every Sunday, 5 p.m. EST. You can join us on Twitter, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, as well as our Discord. You can just go to aasdiscord.com and you'll be magically transported to the best place on earth. No, not Disney World. And we also have some merch for sale at aashop.info. Shall we get into our big news of the week?
Let's do it.
おー、大ニュースです。It's time for big news of the week.
Well, I was like, there's just nothing to talk about. And then I found a funny article. Thank you to CBR for just posting just nonsense all the time. So there was an interview done with Shinsaku Kozuma, who is a very long-time animator in Japan, who has worked on stuff like Yu Yu Hakusho, the Final Fantasy animes, Jujutsu Kaisen very recently, and has many anecdotes about a time that he worked at Studio Ghibli under Hayao Miyazaki. So, and So there were a couple funny comments from this article that I thought I would throw out there. The first one being that Miyazaki would levy fines for lateness. So this is like, he sounds like just a horrible boss, like the kind of person I'd never want to work for. My style when I go to work is I show up when I feel like it between 8 and 9 o'clock, and then I stay until I've done everything I have to do, even if that's like late as fuck. But Miyazaki literally checks when everybody comes in and out, and his seat is closest to the door, according to the interview. So he sees everything and will expect you to not leave, and if you need to be there on time or you will be fined, which I think is wild. But the reason why the article even made it to the headline was because the person also discussed how Miyazaki is so superstitious that he would segregate his employees based on blood type. Which
you see, I was reading the title of this article. I'm like, he's up for segregation? Oh my god. And then I saw the rest blood type, and I'm like, oh, okay, that doesn't really matter.
I mean, it could matter.
Really?
No, probably
It's a big thing in Japan, like your blood type kind of dictating your personality and your compatibility with like-minded or like-blooded individuals.
This is the way Caroline feels about Miyazaki. For sure, 100%.
Yeah, that was my reaction.
That's how
when
I
read
feel
it.
too. So he is, apparently Miyazaki was the one who got to decide where everybody sits. I mean, let's be frank, he probably controls absolutely everything about the studio, except for probably the finances, which I think was probably Toshio Suzuki's job. The B-type people would sit together, and the A-type people would sit together. According to the BBC, it, as Mason just said, it's a popular belief in Japan that A-type people are sensitive, perfectionists, and are good team players, but are very anxious. B-type people are cheerful and eccentric, individualistic, and selfish. So they have very, I mean, this is all horse shit, right? I mean, well, a lot of people believe in astrology, but you got to really like...
And they don't hire anyone with type O blood types.
Yeah, I was wondering.
Here's my theory. Miyazaki just didn't want the people who farted around him, so he arranged it in a way, and this was his guise. He's like, oh, it's definitely by blood types, definitely. Nothing else.
So I'm blood type AB, so I have to sit like by myself in the corner, and But anyway, so there were 4 books that describe the differences between blood type personalities in Japan that proved to be incredibly popular, selling over 5 million copies as books. So definitely, that's a lot of copies for a book in a country with only 100 million people. So, well, I actually think Japan's like at 128 or something, but that's a lot. That would be like a book selling 15 million copies in America. That's a lot of copies. So. Anyway, so yeah, it was just an interesting article. If you want to go read the article, there's not much more to it than what I said already, but it's on CBR by Chike. Oh man, I should not have engaged in this name. I have no fucking idea how to pronounce this name. Just look for the blood type article on CBR with Miyazaki. You'll find it. But yeah, pretty weird. Miyazaki sounds like a terrible boss and a very weird boss. Him and his
not really surprising.
Him and his little fucking apron.
Considered. His cigarettes.
Who hid my apron? Yeah, exactly. I think he probably sleeps he probably showers in his apron. So, and he puts his cigarettes out on it. He puts his cigarettes out and he ashes his cigarettes on his wife's thigh. So, I could see it. Caroline, what do you got?
All right, so we got news on another live-action property that may or may not actually happen. Lionsgate has closed a deal with director Destin Daniel Cretton, or Cretton? I'm not sure how to pronounce that. For its live-action film adaptation of Masashi Kishimoto's Naruto manga. Cretton, or I'm just going to say Cretton, I believe he directed Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. That was a Marvel movie, and directing-wise, I thought it was pretty decent. So that bodes well. Cretton will direct and write the movie in collaboration with Kishimoto himself, and there is some reason to believe that this might be decent, considering Kishimoto has been quoted saying that Cretton, quote-unquote, would be the perfect director for Naruto, and that there's no other director that he would rather do it. So that's pretty cool. And Lionsgate has had the rights to adapt the manga into a live-action movie since 2015, so nearly 10 years later, maybe it'll happen. I don't know. We'll see.
Caroline, alternate universe. You don't do the silly podcast, and you are a famed director, and someone comes to you and says, "Make a Naruto movie." Like, what would you adapt? Like, what would you?
What part of it?
Yeah, would you
Or
try to merge a couple parts together? Would you try to do
oh,
just a
that's
single
difficult.
arc? Do you jump in the middle when things are interesting? Do you start at the beginning or just do like a flashback arc? Like, what would you?
That's a loaded question.
You have a 2-hour runtime. What are you doing?
I have 700 chapters of
I
Naruto to
know.
consider. um, but I think you have to get some of that premise set, like the whole Team 7 stuff with Sasuke and Sakura, in
Yeah, it
order
takes what, 20 minutes?
make it work. I mean, that, and it's gonna be it's a large, it's a very big project to kind of undertake. So asking me for my opinion on this, I'm not sure
I'm
if I
just
even
saying,
have a good idea.
Naruto is a big burger, and you only get
Big
one
burger.
bite at this thing.
This is
And
Big Mac.
yeah, the way you get all the flavors in is going to be difficult. So I don't
Yeah.
envy this situation, but yeah, we'll see.
I have some thoughts on that. I don't even think you can make a ninja movie at all without it being terrible. They're just way too comical and kitschy, and I think you're gonna struggle to find any ninja movie ever that has been good. Can you name one?
I can't name a ninja movie.
What was it? Three Ninjas? Was that like the comedy one?
Oh, come on.
That one
No
was so
fucking
bad.
way. By the yeah, I don't think that they're not going to be able to pull this off. Naruto looks too ridiculous. His outfit is too comical. The other characters are just too comical. It's just the same stuff as always with anime. It's like,
Yeah, I'm not certain. I'm interested to see what happens if it happens at all, because we all know how these things work. Like, oh, there's a director for this one property that never comes out.
yeah, it's just
It
not,
happens
yeah.
all the time. If it
Missy,
does
what
come out,
if-
I'd be interested to see what they do with it, but I am not thinking it's going to be successful. If it's successful, that would be great, but it's a large task.
It can
that
only
I
hurt.
don't know what they could possibly do with this to make
But
it
here's the
great.
thing: it's a cash grab, but like it can only hurt Naruto as a franchise. And Naruto's already so well established and loved that having a successful live action movie isn't going to add much to Naruto. But if you have a fucking horrific movie, it for some people it's going to hurt Naruto. I mean, honestly, like not for the true fans, but for some people that are on the fringe, it's going to hurt Naruto. I mean, I just don't understand why they do it, but. Also, for the people on Twitch, that link I typed for the anime Oscars, apparently I don't think the redirect works very well from the Twitch chat, so you need to just go to your browser and type the www.animeoscars.com by hand, and it'll come up. So,
Or go to our website, AAApodcast.com, and just scroll down and click the link there. Mitsuki, what if the ninja movie, there were turtles?
What?
Does that change your opinion?
no, there's been so many bad Ninja Turtle movies.
Oh, but there's so few good ones. And they're pretty good. But when they're in the suits, those are good ones. My big news of the week, pretty small, but the Great Pretender sequel movie is now out on Crunchyroll. So if you were a fan of the 2020 heist anime by Wit Studio, the sequel's out. You can watch it now. It's called Great Pretender Razblyuto, and it's available, and I'll probably be talking about it in a couple weeks on one of our What Have We Been Watching segments. So if you missed the news, there you go. And that's it.
Yep,
All right.
indeed. So yeah, I appreciate Zero Ryoko typed the literal Google link into the Twitch, and that'll work. But for people listening, animeoscars.com will work on your phone just fine. So speaking
What's
of the
all this
Oscars,
anime Oscars I'm hearing about?
this is
I got it.
wild. I mean, there's well, I don't want to bury the lead, but there are definitely a handful of anime that mattered last year, and the rest did not. And that's kind of how this is going. But I'm not going to say what those are, but let's talk about it. So, would you guys like to go through every category or just discuss certain categories? We didn't really lay it out very clearly, but
So-
I just figured we'd go through each of them, but that was just my impression.
I'll tell
So
you
this
who I
is
voted
a
for.
pre like coverage thing, going through some of the categories and nominations. I'm thinking of this as like a for your consideration thing,
Mm.
where we're not here to be like, the best anime is definitely, Vinland Saga Season 2 because of this, this, this. Like, you gotta watch it. You gotta vote for it. No, we're not trying to sway anyone's vote here, I think. I think my intent is to be like, hey, if you haven't checked this out, make sure you've watched it. If you've only watched one movie this year, maybe abstain instead of just voting for the popular. We're trying to spread the love, make sure people consider all the options, because in a couple weeks when we do our anime Oscars, we'll go through the nitty gritty and what we thought or what we liked or didn't like or what surprised us. So we'll get to the hot goss later. I think this is a more of a laid back, hey, check out the nominations.
Speaking of hot, I liked your water bottle just now, Caroline. Very sexy, very flesh colored. Yep.
Stop. I confided in you the fact that people thought my water bottle looked like a penis when I first bought it. I confided in you about this and my struggles to get stickers onto it just so it becomes less penis-like. And you betray that trust?
Stickers won't help you. I'm gonna get the American flag tattooed on my ball sack. So stretch that canvas.
Need to know that.
Stretch that canvas out. Tattoo it up, baby. There's plenty of room.
Yeah, Tanuki style.
Awesome.
What do we want to talk about first? Just go down the list. Give people.
Let's go down the list.
Get people excited. Give people a reason to vote in the AAA Oscars, because it's a fun event and it's just time to gab. So first category, best animation, style and quality.
Option, abstain. Have you seen Abstain this year, Mason?
Wow,
it looked awesome.
Seen.
People use
so
Abstain.
Cool.
When they people do use
and
it.
People should. There is no shame in using Abstain. If you've seen, so each of these categories has 6-ish shows, 6 or 7 shows for you to pick from. I would say if you've seen 2 or less, you probably shouldn't be voting. You probably should just hit Abstain. In my opinion, I'm not going to gatekeep anyone from giving out their opinions, and I'm not saying their opinions are wrong. I'm just saying, you got to know what you're voting in.
Well, I've seen 4 of these, and I voted for Jujutsu Kaisen. I'm not gonna lie, season 2. That anime was just the Jujutsu Kaisen anime was just like an animation orgasm the entire time from Mappa. They were just like there. I was like, this has got to be the peak, and then it just never ended. It was just like boom, boom, one after another, just incredible animation. And because it's an action shonen fighting anime, which none of the rest of these are, well, Hell's Paradise sort of is a fighting
Hell's
anime.
Paradise is action shonen. Bleach,
and
1,000
Bleach.
Years Blood War, it's action shonen.
Now, I haven't
Vinland
seen
Saga
that.
was an action shonen, and
Now
it's
it's
not, but it
drama.
still has some great visuals.
Yeah.
Vinland Saga is shonen.
It was.
I guess, yeah.
That
well,
shit
just based
doesn't
on like
feel like
how
it
the
to me.
first
became a
like.
sign-in. I don't remember.
Yeah, I was gonna say there are some pretty mature themes in there for like a 10-year-old. So, but
I still have no idea. Whenever somebody talks about shonen, quote unquote, I still have no idea if they mean from the magazine Shonen Jump or just demographically,
There's 2 different kind of
or just
categories
style,
to it.
like genre style. Like, because shonen is, when people think of shonen, there is an obvious style to it, but that's besides the conversation.
Yeah, so some
here.
people will say if it came out in Shonen Jump, as, Vinland Saga did, it makes it a shonen. Or if it's, written for a demographic of young boys, then that makes it shonen. So Vinland started in shonen and then moved, I don't know how many volumes into its run, to a seinen magazine, similar to JoJo's. So you could argue it's both, but yeah, you would say, it doesn't occupy the same real estate as, a Naruto, but you could also argue Jujutsu Kaisen, a shonen, still a shonen, got pretty dark as well. So
for me, in this list of options we have here, I would probably vote Jujutsu Kaisen as well, because I think that's the only show out of these that, well, I haven't seen Bleach and I haven't seen Onimai, but out of all these, I think that's the only show that I went, wow, look at that. All the rest of them I'm kind of just like, oh well.
yeah, so we do always have other podcasts that nominate stuff in these categories, and I haven't seen Onimai, but it definitely made it into a few categories on this list. So I don't know if you guys have seen that. I know we didn't cover it, but I think
I
that
haven't
was
seen all of it, but the animation certainly is, not an action fighting show, certainly a flex on all accounts. So it looks way better than it needed to do. It's kind of a cutesy comedy, slice of lifey sort of hijinks show. So, but it had great visuals. And while the other show on this list that isn't so much uh, a shonen, but Heavenly Delusion, which has a lot of style to it and a lot of swagger and some great animation cuts as well. So I like all the suggestions here. I think every show that you could pick in this group have a lot to be desired. Nothing was immediately like, that's falling short in some way or another. There's a lot of strong points here. So I think this is going to be a close pick.
You see,
I think
I had
popularity makes shows
nominated.
pull away.
I
What
had
did you
nominated
nominate?
Magical Destroyers, and it got cold when you guys went through and tried to take out some of the nominations because we had a ton of them. And I'm a
Yeah.
little disappointed because I thought it was such a very unique looking show.
As the resident Magical Destroyers fan of I think the three of us, and the one like most willing to sing its praises, I love the look of Magical Destroyers, but I think it kind of just looks very Trigger-esque, like it's following a style that
Mm.
has been done before and done better before, instead of refining, stuff like what Jujutsu Kaisen or stuff like that. So I love the look of that show. I just didn't think it would be competitive with the other ones in this thing. So
I
I'm
guess.
sorry. I think it was a good pick though. I'm sorry.
it's all Mason's fault. He actually
It
created
is.
that one, so you can blame me on most of the
Unbelievable.
others. But yeah, unforgivable, honestly. Yeah.
I mean, Pluto also got a nom that I think could have made the cut, but it was just. I mean, I also nominated Suriname season 2. I thought that show looked phenomenal. It's Kyoto Animation. Like, what do you expect? It's going to look
Yeah.
awesome. I just don't think enough people watched it and stuck with it to enjoy it. So it was a mix of choosing the best shows and the shows that had the best chance of winning, which is, it hurts my soul as elitist to do that to my boys. But yeah, neither of those made the cut, but they definitely could have. They could have been in the running for sure. What's next?
So the next two categories are both music categories. We have best opening, best closing. I voted. Well, so there's a lot of heavy hitters in this category, including Jujutsu Kaisen again, Oshinoko, Vinland Saga. I voted for Jujutsu Kaisen. I really like that opening where they're all kind of like slowly walking in like the dark reddish like hued like lantern festival or whatever.
But that's not on this list.
It's not.
No, that's a
Oh.
different opening.
Oh,
I think
well,
this one. I
picked.
think this opening was from like the first few episodes, right? From like their backstory of Geto and Gojo.
Well, consider my vote influenced by that for the anime for Jujutsu Kaisen. I can't keep track of all these fucking songs, and I don't really, frankly, care very much. But
I mean, that one's also a very good opening. But I had nominated Urusei Yatsura, the first opening for that show,
Well,
and
Lum
I've
is
been
hot.
waiting to do it.
You've always been on that OP train. Every
It
time
was
that's come
so
up, Caroline has
good.
been like,
I'd like to
it
run
hits
through
for
it.
me, and I love it. And the colors are so popping. It's really neat.
There's idols. There's video game references. There's Lum herself.
Bikinis.
Bikinis. Yes. And Jello-like hair.
Yeah, they're probably like 5 anime characters hotter than Lum. I mean, there's not very many. Spoiler alert. So
Yeah.
I find the OP
Yeah.
and ED such a difficult one to vote in because you vote on the song, do you vote on the visuals, or do
All
you
of it.
vote on how it ties into the show? There's kind of those three aspects, and which is what amazes me is like anyone in 7 minutes, you could watch all of the OPs and not have to hit abstain because it takes 90 seconds each, and you can learn about all of them. Like it's not hard to look at them, but you just might be missing out on the context. If you've never seen Miggy and Dolly and you watch the ED, which that got a nomination, you can hear the song, you can see the visuals, but like how does that tie into the mood and atmosphere of the show? You might miss out on that. So you could argue, well, you should abstain. So I think it's tricky. There was a bunch of good ones on here. Actually, I had originally nominated the Undead Unluck ED, The one of them
Oh,
in the
that's a good
boat,
one.
just like out in the white abyss. That one was so mellow, so powerful and evocative. And I was like, oh wait, it did end this in 2023. So maybe in 2024 I'll put it on the list. But I enjoyed that ED, but unfortunately that didn't make the cut. And I think there's a good mix of super hype OPs, super chill OPs, and I like all of these for the most part.
Well, I can already tell you right now, the winner is Oshinoko. There's no
Well,
way that's not going to win.
I don't
Wow.
know.
Let's take a look.
I think that was the biggest popularity wise, which means I think I will agree with you. But
But
I
since basically this is a popularity contest, no matter how
I
we try
know,
to
but I
swing it,
want to think there are so many good ones. I really am a sucker for the Vinland Saga season 2 one, the River OP.
yeah, I love that one.
Just it was low key, but it hit hard. It had the cool like shifting fluidity of people transforming into hands, and I'm a sucker for hands. Mob Psycho has the hands in the OP. Um, this had the hands in the OP. I love me some hands in openings. I don't know why, but that's my itis. What do you think, Mitz? Which ones were you feeling? Or you said the Jujutsu
Yeah, I
Kaisen.
mean, to be honest, guys, I I don't really watch OPs, so
It's so easy though.
it's you know, if you watch the OP and the ED every time, it adds like 40 minutes to the runtime for a whole
Yeah,
season.
but you watch it
So,
once and you remember. You
No,
watch once
no
at the
fucking
beginning,
way.
once at the end.
There's no way I'm gonna remember
That's
one,
fair.
listening to it one time. I'm too old. Come on, you gotta have less faith in me. I'm not trustworthy. I'm geriatric.
That's fair. That's
honestly.
fair. Yeah, there was EDs that I had not seen. Like I have never seen the One Hit Kill Sister show, but I've heard lots of good things about the ED. That was super cool with the way it pans through windows. The Onimai ED is really easy. Even Witch from Mercury, the second season. Like I have not followed up on season 2 of that. I don't think any of us have, but super cool ED. So I'm once again all good picks. I'm interested to see who wins.
Caroline, would you take the next one?
Did we just like combine the OP and ED one?
Yeah,
Are we moving
yeah.
on in whole?
I mean, sort of, yeah.
All right. So the next one is best voice acting. We got Yuji from Jujutsu Kaisen. We got Anna from the Danger. Of course, the voice actors that play them. Anna from the Dangers of My Heart. We got Kana Arima from Oshinoko. Aizawa from Tomo-chan is a Girl. We got Suguru Shinichi from Undead Girl Murder Farce, and Vash from Trigun Stampede.
I'm not a real big fan of this category.
Well, you listen to dubs anyway, so you wouldn't really
Well,
have an opinion.
well, the reason is because none of us went to acting school, so I don't think most listeners have no fucking clue what good acting sounds like. So, especially not in a foreign language. So, I think people are just voting for their favorite character, and that's about it.
Well, there's
pretty
one
sure.
character
Disagree.
that there's one voice actor that I neglected to nominate, and I kind of feel bad now because I honestly think Sid's voice actor from The Eminence Shadow is very good, considering how much he changes his voice in that show to reflect different parts of his
You
personality.
just like when he says,
Who is
"I
that?
am atomic."
No, not just that.
Who are you talking about now?
The main character of The Eminence Shadow.
Oh, sorry. I'm still looking at Lum, so I'm still back on like the first category. So I got sucked down. I got sucked down the internet vortex.
Yeah, and I get what you're saying because
Yeah.
who are we to say what good acting is in a different language? But I
Well,
still feel like I get
can't
a
tell.
feeling.
I can't fucking
I
tell.
I,
I
I
think
get
you
a
can
feeling
tell.
for different things. Like that it's a little bit unfair depending on what the show is. Like if you get an actor that gets a very emotional scene that gets a chance to really do a lot, then that's one thing. But if you're a character that doesn't do like if you're like in a slapstick comedy, you're not really gonna get a lot of opportunity to be very
Well, you
good.
can still be zany and have range. If you have someone like
Yeah.
Fern from Freyrin, who's very muted and like docile,
Yeah.
your voice acting chops are not going to get tested, and you're not going to win any awards despite being a favorite. So it's a tricky category for sure. And yeah, it might come down to favorite character, but I think people can at sometimes tell a really standout performance. And yeah, we'll see who wins.
Yeah, and
Hopefully it's not
with that in
abstain.
mind, I think I would vote for Yuji, because as I said, he has a lot of crazy scenes in season 2 that I really liked him in.
So the next one
Next.
is so now we're on the genre categories. This is where it gets really hot. You know what I'm saying? So, and these were all curated down to 6 or 7 nominations because there were like 11, 12 in some categories. It's just way too much. But the best action adventure, I think, is usually the most heavily contested category. It's because shonen probably makes up 80% of every minute of all minutes watched by genre, if I had to guess. And since most shonen are action, they tend to end up in this category. So like this has got Bleach in it, Demon Slayer, Jujutsu Kaisen, My Hero, Trigun Stampede, and then the only one on here that I am not that familiar with, haven't seen it, is Bungo Stray Dogs season 5. Is on here.
I've been staying up to date on it. It's fun.
So yeah, it must be good. 5 seasons is quite a lot, honestly. So I mean, if it wasn't good, it wouldn't have made it that long. But yeah, what do you guys think? Do you have a favorite for this category?
Oh, I'm always biased by my nominations because I nominated My Hero season 6 because it was a really good season, and with a lot of good action. And yeah, I'm biased, but still.
How biased are you?
I'm never biased by my selection because I always try to pick the shows that I don't think other people will pick. So I put Bungo Stray Dogs season 5, not thinking it was the best show, but I'm like, no one else is going to put Bungo on there. And I think, I think all these are solid. I think the biggest detriment to this year, what I find interesting is every single one of these is a sequel or a remake in some way.
How
Like
about that?
like Bleach Comeback Part 2, Bungo Season 5, Demon Slayer Season 3 or whatever, Jujutsu Season 2, My Hero Season 6, Trigun Stampede, a kind of reimagining remake from... So it's like, you can't even... There's no easy point of access, so people are already dyed in the wool about what their favorite season is or show at this point. So I don't know. I mean, I feel like Demon Slayer love has kind of dropped off. I feel like My Hero love has kind of dropped off. I've heard it's getting better, but I think it already filtered out its fans. So
I mean, it's kind of tough once you get to a part like season 6.
exactly.
If somebody's not absolutely feeling it, then they're gone. Like even if they liked it, I considered dropping My Hero after a little while because I'm like, I don't know, can I keep up with this show? But I did, and I liked it. So.
Isn't it amazing how like once the shock and awe of the animation goes away, everyone suddenly just doesn't care about Demon Slayer anymore? I don't think anybody cared about the last season of Demon Slayer.
Well, the animation even has it dropped? I have not seen it. I assume it still looks, as flashy and extravagant as Ufotable has always done it.
I don't know. I assume it does. I just never heard a single person talk about the Swordsmith arc at any point in the last year. So I don't think people gave remotely as much of a shit as they did about the first one. So I don't know. I could be wrong. I'm sure there's someone.
It's not the hot new thing. I think either Jujutsu Kaisen gets it. I think Trigun Stampede is kind of newer. Like it doesn't have that barrier of entry that the others do, so it has a chance. But I think season 5 and 6 doesn't have a shot. So we'll see.
For the record, the new season of Demon Slayer has, and I understand Demon Slayer's first season came out a few years ago, but this has been out almost a full year now. Has essentially 20% of the viewership of the first season. That's how hard it's dropped. Demon Slayer is now being watched at the level of just a regular anime.
It would be interesting to go through a bunch of shonen and see what or just long running shows that is broken up by season and kind of break down like what the drop off is. I don't know if that's that much better or worse than other of its peers,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Anyway. Best comedy, another difficult category because I mean, action adventure, you can say, oh, they're doing the action. I like it or not. Comedy, everyone has a different style of stuff. And I would say, in addition to that, each of these shows does comedy very different. from the 100 Girlfriends Who Really, Really Love You, Buddy Daddies, Eminence and Shadow Season 2,
Well,
Mashal,
actually,
Onimai, Spy Family Season 2, Tomo-chan Girl. Like, maybe Spy Family and Buddy Daddies, you could argue, are kind of adjacent with their setup, but even the way that they deliver laughs is very different from one another. And Eminence and Shadow, you could argue, like, that's more action adventure than comedy. You could, like, it's tricky in these shows. What were you going to say?
Sorry. I was just about to say, when I had made, obviously, the nomination for Eminence and Shadow was mine. But the thing is that I just realized, because originally I had nominated it Eminence and Shadow Season 1, because that wrapped early last year.
Yeah.
And I just realized that technically both Season 1 and 2, because that's what was listed, are eligible for these awards. But I guess
yeah, because I would argue Season 1 is much more of a comedy.
Yeah,
and Season 2 is much more of an action.
Yeah, but oh well, it's not that big a deal.
It's what it is.
I think you'd be surprised which anime is winning this category.
Are we doing spoilers?
Look forward to it. We're not
going to
tell you.
I'm not going to tell you, but I think you'll be surprised. I'm looking at the result right here.
Me personally, in terms of the show that I laughed the hardest at, was probably Spy Family. But because I nominated it, I better explain why I nominated Eminence and Shadow. It's because I feel like the comedy is very clever compared to usual anime. So, yeah, that's why I nominated it. What about you guys? Which one would you guys go with?
I picked Buddy Daddies. So
yeah, I haven't actually seen enough of these yet. I don't tend to watch the comedies. I will say the only comedy that didn't make the cut was the latest Konosuba, An Explosion on This Wonderful World, I think it is.
Yeah,
just because it was like, we know Konosuba, we've seen it. It's good at what it does. Trying to get new stuff in here. So that one, sorry, it's not on the list. If that was your favorite, I'm sorry. Just pick something else. This is my least favorite category right here. Is the best drama / slice of life. Just because these are so similar and different things that you're putting up apples and oranges literally sometimes, and it's difficult to compare. But we have these slice of life shows like Skip and Loafer and Yuzuki Family's Four Sons versus dramas like Oshinoko and Pluto. So it's drama slice of life. You can't have one without the other, but man, it's tough.
Well, drama's really broad. I mean, sports is drama. Crime is drama. Romance is drama. Everything's fucking drama. Everything.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know. It's tough, but yeah, I mean, if you were to take all the drama out of a slice of life, you'd be left with just something super boring. So, I think they kind of have to function. I mean, day-to-day life is boring enough. Is routine and mundane enough. I don't think we require some drama in our slice of life to make it something beyond, just getting up and going to work. So
yeah, it's tricky. It's just yeah. But for example, one show that didn't make the cut was Pokemon Concierge, which is just a super adorable slice of life show, but didn't really have any fight in this competition. So yeah, I mean, I think Skip and Loafer is amazing. I think Pluto is phenomenal. Villain Saga is masterclass. Oshinoko, super popular. Now, there's good shows across the board here. And it's always a question of, are you voting for the show that was the best slice of life? Or are you voting for the best show in the slice of life category? You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So we don't tell the listeners one way or another. We kind of let them pick, but I hope you're voting for the best show of this list that has been curated, So
I hope you're watching anime.
I'm also not sure what I'm going to vote for here.
Yeah, I haven't voted yet. I need to.
I mean, I didn't even think I was eligible. I didn't think we were supposed to vote.
I always vote.
We facilitate.
It's your God-given right as an anime addict.
Listen, if I don't get a little sticker that says I voted with a little flag of Mitsugi giving me a thumbs up, I don't vote.
Man, I would never wear those fucking stickers.
Yeah, I'm like,
I'm not
thanks
I'm
for the
not
sticker. Thanks. I'm not even putting it on.
Let's see. Do we want to keep on going to fantasy isekai?
Yeah, this one.
Alrighty.
I'm not going to give it away who they are, but this one is currently a tie right now. So it's pretty good. Currently a tie.
A lot of season 2s. Ancient Magus Bride season 2, Eminence and Shadow season 2, Jobless Reincarnation season 2. Not season 1 part 2, but season 2. So make sure you know the difference. Heavenly Delusion, Hell's Paradise, and Undead Girl Murder Farce, which is quite for being isekai being so samey, this is actually a pretty diverse range between fantasy, isekais, and just different flavorings of the like. So, yeah, pretty good. Obviously, I'm a little biased. I'm a bit of a fan of Heavenly Delusion, but I could see a couple other ones raising to the top of this.
I'm surprised Ancient Magus Bride made this.
I guess, but in terms of being pure fantasy, I would probably vote for Heavenly Delusion as well, because usually when we get fantasy, it is, we are in a medieval world, we got knights, we got magic, and this is none of that. So I appreciate it. So I probably would vote for that.
We'll see. You said this one was tied, Mitz, right?
It's tied right now.
If you have any opinions on this, listener, get your vote in, because no one cares what we think.
Yeah, and Ancient Magus Bride, like, I didn't particularly think the first season of Ancient Magus Bride was really like anime of the year type worthy. So I'm surprised to see it on here, and I have no fucking clue what Undead Girl Murder Farce is. I have no idea. So, but
oh yeah, I guess you weren't there for that review.
Yeah, and I noticed that I managed to sidestep the review of Migi and Dolly because I'll be in Japan. So that's.
Are you out just for that week or the week after as well?
Both weeks.
Okay, so we need to figure out what the game plan is. You need to figure out 2 shows that you want to pass.
I do not want to watch Migi and Dolly. I do not.
Okay, I feel like you're giving it a bad rap here. I liked it. It passed. I get to watch Gushing Over Magical Girls, which is apparently really gross now, thanks to you.
Yeah, there was a full sex scene.
You can zip it.
Well, in Hobby Addicts, we will determine what other show you don't want to watch, Mitz, if it's one of the 2 core shows or something. So you can dodge 2 bullets. We'll talk about it later.
It's just creepy. Every photo from that anime is so fucking creepy.
Literally the point of the show.
I don't want to watch creepy shit about twins.
That's fair. That's fair.
I skip the creepy twin horror movies too. I'm just like, I just want to like shove one of their faces into like my food processor and just end it.
It's supposed to feel that way.
But it doesn't. But all right, we're getting sidetracked. But like little like fucking preteen anime boys are not going to be menacing. Like they can just fuck off.
Well,
they're never going to be menacing.
And yet you feel creeped out by them. Which is it, Mitz?
The show is creepy, but they can't be creepy.
Well, they can be creepy. They're not menacing though. I would just kick them in their face. Like,
well,
honestly.
That's not kind of the point. They're just really weird kids, basically.
What is this, like The Good Son starring Macaulay Culkin?
I don't know what The Good Son is, but it sounds kind of like that.
It's a movie with Macaulay Culkin where he's like this fucking sociopathic little kid who like tries to murder his family and shit over and over again.
They don't want to murder them, but they are freaking creepy kids.
All right, Stewie Griffin.
And on that note, most surprisingly good. That could obviously be Miggy and Dolly, honestly.
But it's not on this list.
It's not on the list. I
don't know how
Yamada-kun
got on. Sorry, go ahead.
I actually voted for Under Ninja for most surprisingly good. That
Under
show was,
Ninja.
Yeah, that
I
show
heard that it
was
surprisingly good.
It was fun. It was the most Adult Swim show ever. It was just these shut-in, jobless ninjas who go around doing super violent crimes for the Ninja Corporation, pretty much, and it was just wild. It was just every episode you did not know what you were getting into, and it was a fun time overall. So wacky, but not on the list. It's not on the list. Mitz axed it in the butt.
In the butt.
So what is on the list?
What in the butt?
Mitz Drone Strike delivered his katana and swiped Under Ninja's jugular out of its
I would never do that.
Throat. It's okay. What is on the list, Caroline?
We got Bang Dream, It's My Go. We got Buddy Daddies, The Dangers in My Heart, My Love Story with Yamada-kun at level 999, Undead Girl Murder Farce, and Yuzuki Family's 4 Sons. Out of all the things on this list, I feel like Yamada-kun at level 999 does not make any sense. Because I feel like it very much is exactly what they advertised. And nobody thought it would be anything different than what it was. I don't know why it's on this list.
I mean, I think it's more shows that you had low expectations for. Not necessarily you were surprised by what they contained.
No, but like surprising, but also surprisingly good. Yamada-kun was not that great.
No, it wasn't.
It was very average, if that.
Yeah, maybe they just were so negatively expecting anything of note that like mediocrity was like, wow, this is surprising.
Yamada-kun.
I mean, I think Buddy Daddies has a good shot at this.
Yeah.
Dangers in My Heart has a good shot at this. And maybe like they both have a shot just because they came across in their promotional material as so by the numbers and aping off of more successful material. And you're just like, this just feels like a cash grab or just trying to siphon off some of the popularity of shows of similar like. And they both like ended up exceeding and kind of breaking through. Undead Girl Murder Farce just also seemed like it had way too many elements on the pizza for it to taste good, and it somehow kind of worked. So I could see this being actually a pretty close genre.
And we'll see category. If our Discord group of Bang Dream fans might rally together for this one.
Is the Discord particularly in love with Bang Dream?
Not everybody on the Discord, but there is a faction on the Discord that is very loud about their love of Bang Dream.
I'm watching a video with Sephiroth and Tifa right now, and that could probably be called Bang Dream. It probably could.
Hey,
I'm not going to elaborate. Man. I'm not going to elaborate.
I love the Italian Parliament.
I know.
Tifa is so Tifa is so prevalent in the world that she's invading like the deepest parts of Western civilization's governments. It's fucking
love
awesome.
To see it.
Titties will overcome everything in this world. I just say that, and Tifa's got plenty of titties. Oh my god. I voted for Buddy Daddies in this category.
Yeah, I could see that.
Yep. Well,
best boy, best girl.
We got a bunch more of these.
Peak of popularity.
Yeah, I mean, so there's a lot of your normal. See, all right. So best boy, it's a lot of really good characters, but I'm kind of surprised that one of these characters. Well, I'm not surprised, but I don't agree. And so the first character is Akira Tendo from Zom 100. He's in here. Eisuke from Sudune is in here. Gazikt is in here from Pluto. The one that I'm not surprised is in here, but I don't think should be, is Gojo.
Yeah, he was barely in the show.
He was in there for he's in there for like basically 3 episodes, and that was about it. So
I guess he got the flashback, which was a fairly decent portion, but Gazikt isn't even a boy. He's not a person. He's a robot. And he's also an adult robot.
Hey, I bet he has a peen.
He might, but he's a man, if anything.
And
also, Gojo's a man. He's not a boy.
I mean, I voted for Todo for best boy. He's so good. But it's tricky with Jujutsu Kaisen just having so many like segmented parts of the plot. Like it didn't really follow any one person for so long that it was like their season, you know?
Ichigo from Bleach is in here, and so is Thorfinn from Vinland Saga. So
yeah,
it's a strong list.
You can be a man. Yeah, good people all around.
I feel like he's still pretty young. Like he's if anything, he's like in his early 20s and late teens still.
Well, so best boy doesn't mean they're literally young. You know.
I know, but best boy conjures up a certain image where I still think, okay, even if they are a little bit older, they still identify with some more of the pure, naive parts of. You
can't keep on voting in Mob from Mob Psycho every year, Caroline. That's not how this works. This is not the Shigeru category.
I know. But if you're Gazikt is a robot, but I still think he would grow some gray hairs. He's so old.
I like Gazikt. He's not much fun, but he got the job done.
He did. right, best girl.
Best girl. This is the one everybody really cares about. No one cares about the boys.
Yeah, this is true. So we got Anna from The Dangers in My Heart. We got Kana Arima from Oshinoko. Kyoko Hori from Horimiya, The Missing Pieces. Yeah, Mimi Hime from Heavenly Delusion. Yor Forger from Spy X Family Season 2. And Yuzuki Murashige from Skip and Loafer. We have quite a few lovely best girls here to pick
I'll
from.
be honest, this was the one time where I broke my code. Normally, I tried to submit and pick and, filter out things that have a chance of winning. Some shows just Pokemon Concierge isn't going to win anything. So I'm sorry, it didn't make the cut. Here, for Skip and Loafer, I could have submitted Mitsumi, the main girl character, the one who actually probably would have a better chance at the votes. But nope, I couldn't help myself. I had to go with Yuzuki from that show. She's just
She's cool.
I love her so much, and I just want her to get some votes, and I'll be happy. So I don't think she'll win, in honesty, despite Skip being a great show, and that would carry a lot of good best girl. But maybe that was selfish on my part, but I had to. So who do you guys like? Who did you guys submit?
I voted for Anne because she cutie.
Yeah, I would have to go for Anna as well. I just love her. And there's a lot of good choices on this list.
Have you been watching season 2, Caroline?
Of Dangers?
Of Dangers, yeah.
I was, but since now it's passed for listener choice, I've held off. I'm been holding off with a lot of difficulty because I keep on hearing good things about some developments. Don't know what the developments are, but I can make some guesses. I really want to watch it, but holding off.
I wonder how much of the season 2 developments and love that seems to be coming that show's way are feeding into this pull from season 1.
Probably is.
It probably is.
It's more of a season 4 thing, Mason.
Oh, okay. It'll get there, man. It's one day.
Yeah, they'll get there, but
They're still
I believe,
in middle school.
I believe in our boy there. I think he's gonna turn it around. But
okay.
Yeah.
All right. I just gotta say it. If we don't want them to do anything because they're in middle school, then don't make romance anime about middle schoolers. What the fuck?
You could still have a relationship in middle school. I'm just saying.
But it's fucking pointless. None of us are in middle school. I don't. Why? Well, why do this?
It's obviously not pointless considering how many people enjoy it.
Well, no comment on that one. But honestly, if
know your opinions, Mitz.
If the point of the romance anime is that they're too young to have romance, then why the fuck are they in it?
Well, they can have romance. I'm just saying that. Okay, I know that middle schoolers do the thing often, but they're still pretty young. So I'm just saying.
They were doing the thing back when I was in middle school, so they're definitely doing the thing now, because everyone has. We're just gonna start giving kids tablets the minute they're born. They'll be like, "Wow!" Like I'm shot right out of the womb, covered in blood. Here's your tablet.
What are you on right now?
I don't know. I glazed over for 2 seconds.
I am on extreme reality of the world today. Is what I'm on. The next category is best film.
Yep.
Which is a very small category because there weren't really that many great films. But we do have the Black Clover movie, Sword of the Wizard King. Blue Giant, which I have no idea what that is. The Boy and the Heron, everyone knows. Miyazaki's latest, Festival of Abusing His Animators. Slam Dunk, the first movie, or the first Slam Dunk, and Suzume.
I've only seen 2 out of the 5 here, so I don't know if I'm eligible to vote in this.
And
if I were to, I would have voted Suzume. But
the winner is abstain.
Probably.
No, that's what it is.
Which is good. If you haven't seen enough movies, don't abstain. But still, you can be like, I still really like Boy and the Heron, even if that was the only one you saw. That's fine. That's good. That's a valid opinion. But I just want Blue Giant to do good. I just want it. It won't, but I just want it to.
Listen, I'm not gonna lie. I didn't think Boy and the Heron was that good.
That's fine.
Then
you're not gonna vote for it.
It smacked of Howl's Moving Castle vibes, where it just moves too fast. Nothing fucking makes sense in that movie, and that's not really my thing. I hate it
you gonna vote for Suzume?
I voted for the only one on this list that I have seen, which is The Boy and the Heron. So, but I would, but
Film, not that good.
I would have voted for it anyway because I'm so biased towards Ghibli. The Boy and the Heron was so abstract that it was difficult to enjoy because not much in that movie made sense. So I miss the more down to earth, like, Princess Mononoke and shit like that, where it like, it's a fantasy, but like it's still, relatively everything you see is self-explanatory. I don't need to. I need someone to sit next to me to explain to me how like the woman that was taking care of the house like emerges from her pocket and all this shit, and how the fucking I'm just like, whatever. I don't know. Let's skip best studio.
Yeah, it's hard to talk about.
Let's skip best or worst anime of 2023. Let's just go to the. Well, we're running long. Do you want to?
I know, but pooper scoobers are fun.
All right, go
Let's
ahead.
just give people the list and let them decide. So if you're listening and have not voted yet, your options for your consideration for the worst anime of 2023, the Pooper Scooper Award, is Fooly Cooly Grunge, A Girl and Her Guard Dog, Kizuna no Allele, The Legend of Heroes, which feels like I'm forgetting to say the Galactic, but whatever, The Marginal Service, Protocol Rain, and Reborn as a Vending Machine. And I'm so happy that I've seen very few of these, but
yeah,
unfortunately
me too.
enough where I could make a selection. So those are your lists, and make your selection. Go to AAApodcast.com, submit. We love seeing these responses. Okay, best of 2023.
Mason, did it kill you to have to nominate your beloved for worst of the year?
Oh, Fooly Cooly Grunge?
Well, just Fooly Cooly in general.
I mean, no, it hurt me watching that show more than it hurt me to then submit I have the Fooly Cooly poster wall scroll right here. Like, I love Fooly Cooly, which gives me the most authority to submit Grunge as one of the worst experiences of anime of last year.
Why was it so bad? That's what I want to know.
It just forsook everything, both conceptually, like in its identity and its style. It's what it is trying to say and do, and the story it was trying to tell was just so slapdash, unfinished, just unremarkable, and just trampled over what Fooly Cooly should be. We talked about in our Hobby Addicts, the Final Fantasy VII Remake, how it deviates from the original in some ways, from your opinion, and that kind of irritates you. Imagine if Final Fantasy VII Remake came out and it was like a Puyo Puyo Katamari Damacy like type of game, where it was just it's so different. It was the what is it? Not Capcom, the pachinko machine equivalent of like Resident Evil pachinko machine kind of thing. Like, it was just so deviant in so many ways that it just felt bad. And it was all CG and gross. And CG's fine, but not here.
I'll be happy with Final Fantasy VII Rebirth as long as Aerith dies. That's all I need.
There you go. I don't think Fooly Cooly is going to win this, despite it being bad, though. I think there are much more worse 12-episode full-length series that took the mantle. So we'll see.
Yeah,
we'll see.
I see a couple people saying, like, why is Reborn as a Vending Machine nominated? It wasn't that bad. That was my nomination. And out of everything we reviewed last year, that was the most painful one. And sure, I'm sure there's several of these shows here that I would have despised more, but out of everything I've seen, I just couldn't.
You got to be just bad enough to make the list, but just good enough for people to talk about it and people to have any discussion. Like, no one watched Kizuna no Allele. Like, no one cares about that show. Even enough to okay, best of 2023. What do we got?
Okay, we got Buddy Daddies, Bleach, 1,000-Year Blood World Part 2, Heavenly Delusion, Jujutsu Kaisen Season 2, Onimai, that's surprising, Oshinoko, and Vinland Saga Season 2. We got quite a few good options here.
Yeah, pretty much a lot of the selections from a lot of the other categories come together. I don't know. I have no idea who's going to win this. I think it'll be close.
I voted for Vinland Saga. I just don't think any other anime last year was as well written or directed. So That anime
Yeah,
had
probably gonna pick Vinland Saga too.
It just had way too much like depth and meaning behind everything it did, and a lot of purpose. And it was very deliberate and patient with its setup. And people made fun of it because it wasn't just Thorkel swinging his cock around. But in fact, Thorkel was really not even in the show. But it didn't really need to be, because there was absolutely a depth of meaning behind the whole farming thing. And hit pretty hard. Honestly, I thought it was so that's why I picked it. Vinland Saga was fucking strong.
Yeah, these are all pretty solid picks.
Even Onimai?
Probably. That's the only one of these I really haven't watched more than a couple episodes of.
Yeah. It's not going to win because Moe never wins. As we know, it's filth.
There's no
trash.
way it's going to win, because there are 3 mega hitters in this category that it would be an upset for Onimai to reach higher than Jujutsu Kaisen Season 2, or Oji no Ko, or Vinland Saga Season 2.
Yeah, but it's in the running, and there should be, at least a pat on the back of me, like, hey, you're not going to win. It's just not objectively, Onimai will not win this category. I think we can all guarantee it now, but it's in the conversation. It's in the category, and that should be, if you like Onimai, that should be like, yeah,
I think it's upsetting that Onimai even exists at all.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that, my friend.
I mean, yeah, I don't know. It's just, I'm not going to say anything because I don't think I can follow up with that comment without making someone very, very upset. So I'm just going to shut my mouth. But yeah.
Well, there you go. Those are
go.
Pretty much all the categories. Please vote. It really does help make us feel good when we see all these responses come in. Just watching the responses numbers tick up as we discuss this is super. Number go up equals fun. And it just gives us a better layout of what you guys care about and what shows should get the thumbs up sticker that we mail them every year. No, we don't do that.
We could do it.
We could.
But then people would
put in the mail to Mr. Vinland Saga Season 2. The containing inside is a sticker for your pleasure. Enjoy it.
I'm going to put the link to the voting in the Twitch one more time. Or at least I'm trying to. But again, if you just go to your browser and type animeoscars.com, come on, people. I bought that domain just for you because I know it's hard. Life is hard. It's like, oh, I can't remember the URL. Bullshit. Even I can remember that URL. Animeoscars.com. Right now, if you're on Twitch, pull your browser up, fucking vote. I'm looking at the response total right now. It's not going up right now. I'm very disappointed in all of you. So I'm going to assume that you all voted.
Already voted.
Yeah. Well, Caroline didn't vote.
We should do a bracket for people guessing who will win.
Have you voted, Mason?
I have not.
Well, you see, I'm disappointed in both of you. Neither of you voted.
I'm in the middle of a podcast.
We're busy.
I voted. I voted right away.
Do you want to know the dark secret, Mitch?
Someone just voted. Wow.
Do you want to know really why I haven't voted?
Yes, I do.
Because we kind of share a Google account for uploading stuff between like YouTube and whatnot. So when I go to the poll, it says like the form has already been filled out. And I'm too lazy to make another account.
Oh, you don't have your own Google account?
I do, but it's tied to YouTube. Doesn't matter. What's the trivia?
Wow.
The trivia question is, in the series Eminence in Shadow, what is the name of the group of the original members that serve as the chief executives within the Shadow Garden organization?
Oh my God.
We'll give you the answer after the news break.
It's Mitsuki, and I'm bringing you your anime news break. Getting us started off with the manga The Duty Dragon, apparently very popular. It's returning from hiatus on March 4th, so you can look forward to Masaoki Shindo's Duty Dragon coming back, that manga. The manga will run for 5 chapters in Weekly Shonen Jump magazine. So Shindo originally published this supernatural comedy one-shot in Jump Giga back in 2020, and of course the manga went on hiatus after 6 chapters in July of that year due to poor health from the mangaka. Ruri Aoki is just another average high school student until she wakes one morning to discover horns growing out of her head. Confused and unimpressed by the change, she shows them to her mother. However, her mother remains unfazed and reveals a shocking truth. Ruri is half dragon. So if you're a fan of this manga, it's coming back. And as every single manga seems to get made into an anime, look forward to the anime of Ruri Dragon, probably coming out, 2025. Next up, another manga, Urbel Blatt, is going to be getting a TV adaptation. So the 3rd issue of Big Gangan announced that this adaptation is coming of the Urbel Blatt. So Shiono, the mangaka, originally published this manga in 3 chapters in the Gangan YG property back in January of 2004. So this is pretty old. Rumors stir throughout the land when the wielder of the black sword draws his dark blade. All who stand in its path are torn asunder. The mysterious young boy who carries the black sword undeniably wields it with exceptional skill, but can he truly be responsible for the bloody rumors? Look out for the TV adaptation of this title that has an umlaut in it, so it's, I don't even know how to pronounce that really, but Evil Blade is, I think, how it's being translated. Next up, Red Bull gives Final Fantasy VII Rebirth wings in a commercial. As we know, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth will be coming out right about the time this podcast releases. The second game in the trilogy reinstallment of the Final Fantasy VII Classic from 1997. There is a Red Bull, crossover between the property and itself, and you can watch Cloud and Sephiroth, drinking Red Bulls, and of course, Sephiroth gets his wings when he drinks Red Bull. So that's pretty cute. If you want to check out the cartoon commercial, it's on the Red Bull Gaming Twitter page, so that might be worth watching. Next up, Yoasobi, Hatsune Miku, and Atarashi Gakko are going to be performing at Coachella. So Coachella has now stooped so low that they will have VR, AR, fake performers. The pop duo Yoasobi is slated to perform on April 12th and 19th. And of course, Hatsune Miku will be there, not really in person because she's not a real thing, perform on April 13th and 20th. And of course, the girl music group Atarashi Gakko will be performing on those next days, April 14th and the 21st. It's a very long music festival, I guess. So if you are a fan of these properties and if you like to go to things like Coachella, tickets went on sale starting on the 19th of January, so I don't know if there's any of those left. But look out because anime is infiltrating Coachella. This was Mitsugi, and this was your anime news break. And now, as always, it is time to get back to the podcast.
Hey, Mandy, you look troubled. What's wrong?
Butts.
Excuse me?
It's all of these anime boy butts. There's just so many of them. I can't decide what's my favorite. I've tried to categorize them by firmness, bounciness, rotundness.
Okay. 2 things. First, you may need some serious help. Second, why don't you go look at the Anime Addicts Anonymous podcast website?
Can that help me get to the bottom of this?
Stop. You know, puns are my thing, right? Also, no, it won't help you with that at all. You are beyond help. But on our website, you can find all our past shows, along with reviews and trivia. Sign up today, and you'll have access to our Hobby Addicts and Hentai episodes.
Hentai episodes? So I can hear other people review butts for me?
Sure. I guess if you want to look at it that way.
Now that's something I can get behind.
Cheeky.
Hi, this is Brina Palencia, voice of Rei Ayanami, and I'm an anime addict.
And then she cries.
No
What up, bitches? In the series Eminence and Shadow, what is the name of the group of original members that serve as the chief executives within the Shadow Garden organization? Didn't we just watch an anime called Shadow Garden?
No.
What was
Are
that
you
fucking
thinking of Red Garden?
Red Garden? Thank you. See, I
That's
told you I'm
close.
old. The Seven Shadows or the Seven Shades. Ooh,
Is that what they call them in the dub?
I don't know.
7 Shades? Never heard that.
I've heard 2 different versions for it, so I put both of them as
Oh.
appropriate answers.
All right. All right, moseying along across the hall. Here we go. The remainder of the show. We're going to do some mailbags now.
It's time for an almighty anime mailbag. Anime. Anime. Anime.
Mailbag.
We didn't do mailbags last week, so I forgot to do the dance this week because I'm just that out of practice. Jeez.
You are
Dropping the
Mason.
ball. I feel
Mason, you are acting as if this is not your job.
this is not
You're
my
not taking
first
this
rodeo.
seriously.
If you have never done the mailbag dance, you probably have never seen the segment
You still
before, in
have
which
us all.
case, here's what you do. You go over to AAApodcast.com, you scroll all the way down, you do the anime Oscars, and you scroll all the way back up, and you click on the top link that says mailbags and more, and you submit your questions and your thoughts and whatever just you want us to do. You can also do Shark Tanks and all the other games we do over there. So that's the place to be. And we have 2 mailbags this week from 2 different people saying 2 different things. So let's get to the first one. This comes from Dylan Ray. And he writes, "Hello, fellow addicts. My name is Dylan, and I've been listening since 2016. And I just wanted to say that Mason finally addressed in his final presidential remarks what I have been waiting for a leader to say for so long, which is draw the nipples.
Yes.
Thank you, Mason, for giving a voice to the voiceless,
Yes.
and to the rest of you for working to keep the quality of the show so consistent through many host changes, time periods, and etc. AAA is as good as it has ever been, and would appreciate your service. And the world appreciates your service. Thank you for making words that I can read. I am bad at that. Thank you,
big
Dylan.
old
That was very nice
titties.
of you. I'm glad that the desire for titties goes.
Yeah. Yeah. Come on, say
People are
it.
clamoring for it. It's
are
not
clamoring.
underappreciated. They
Good.
want the nipples, and I think
Creamy
shows
mommy?
should put them on. Yeah, they're not dirty. If you're gonna draw a naked boob, at least go all the way. And guys have nipples too. so
Cowards.
put them there. Yeah.
I have
not
nipples.
hard.
Can you milk me?
No, but they're still there, baby. I want to see them. What's the next one?
You could try.
Okay.
Let's not be too hasty.
Ooh.
We got one from Vartiak. At least I think that's how it's pronounced. Hey, addicts. Something I've been curious about since listening to the podcast is who is the character on your logo? Has she always been on the logo? Is she an actual anime character or an original character? If an original character, how long has she been an addict? And what's her favorite anime? LOL. Love your podcast, and I hope to run into you guys at a convention someday. Mitz, take it away. Who's the person on our logo?
The mascot's name is Yamitsuki, which means addict. The noun, or she's always been the logo, in different incarnations. She's had a lot of different reimaginings throughout the years, but it's always been the same mascot. She's been an anime fan, anime addict since the day we created her, and her favorite anime is obviously whatever your favorite anime is, because
Cop
That's what
out.
makes her so versatile.
That's a very diplomatic answer.
she's a little bit of a pick me. You know what I mean? She'll just say whatever she has to. So yeah, it's but she a cutie. Yeah, she'll watch anime with you.
All right, are we ready
There you
for
go.
our review here?
She's my bottom bitch. Do you know what I am
What
saying?
show? Yes, I do believe I know what you are saying.
Do you know what I am saying? Yeah. So Caroline, this is your baby. I think. Take it away. I mean,
All right.
Do it.
Well, if you were to ask the Discord, this is the baby I forsook. This
it's a
is the
4D
review
chest
of
backfire.
Yeah, I forsook it twice. This is a review of the Eminence in Shadow Season 2. from fall 2023. The first season was back in fall 2022, but it was a 2-cour, so it only like wrapped up at the start of last year and then it got into season 2. I did do an impression on it in episode 701, but it was a listener pass because I forsook once more. So just going into what it's all about, it is about a guy named Sid who had been reincarnated into this new world, and now he's able to fulfill his dream of becoming the Eminence in Shadow, the person pulling all the strings in the darkness. But really, he's just a kid who likes to roleplay, and he doesn't realize that he is actually an Eminence in Shadow. He thinks everything that happens is just a game of role-playing that his friends is putting on and that he appreciates, and he just tries to find new ways to use his very overpowered abilities and acting props to just fulfill all the lives that he wants. And in this season, it starts out with him going to the lawless city, where there's 3 people that are kind of ruling over this town, and he just gets into hijinks. And Shadow Garden expands, and it's just hijinks in this season. You can't really explain it any other way. So getting into why I forsook twice is that The Eminence in Shadow season 1 didn't quite hit its hook until episode 5, and at that point I'm like, okay, I'm gonna continue watching this into the end because I really enjoyed this. But at that point I had already failed it, and I once again failed it season 2 because there was a lot of good stuff in that season, and I wanted to pass other things like Apothecary Diaries and Miggy and Dally, and it passed listener choice, surprisingly, considering season 1 didn't. But yeah, I was pretty excited to finally review it in a way that's not what we've been watching. But I was worried that with my fellow co-hosts here who have not seen it, what they were going to think of it, considering they had not seen season 1. But yeah, that was just my expectations going in. It was just more Eminence, nothing more or less. So, Mason, would you like to go?
Yeah, so in my mind, I'm kind of reviewing season 1 and season 2 together. I watched all of season 1 and season 2 this week to
Wait, this week?
do it.
Just this week? You watched all of it?
Well, last week I was just doing a manga episode, so I had time to do.
Oh, I guess.
So I watched all of Eminence and Shadows now,
That's
but I'll
crazy.
be talking a lot about it as a collective. So initially going into season 1, heard a bit of clamoring, shrieking, yelling. People seemed to be enjoying it. And after finishing it, yeah, like Caroline, I was just expecting it to continue, and that's what it did. So, heard good things going into it.
I didn't hear jack shit about this anime. People kept saying it was good, but I haven't seen any of it at that point, so really didn't know anything about it. It looks, I don't know, the cover art's all emo and brooding, so I figured that maybe that was a thing, but yeah, I don't know. I don't research things before I go into them, to be honest, and I don't read manga.
Which is good. Ideally, you go in as blind as possible for any show.
And that is quite the truth, considering you didn't even see season 1 before jumping into season 2. And I cannot imagine how confusing that was, because I saw season 1, and I'm still confused by this show. But let's go into recommendations here. So I would recommend it, but again, only if you've seen season 1. But even if you were not feeling season 1, this season 2 will not change your mind whatsoever. Even I, who is a fan of Eminence and Shadow, there are some things I have trouble with. Mostly surrounding the fact that there are a lot of characters, and a lot of them look the same in Shadow Garden in particular, because they're all hot girls. And then I often forget the plot details, because a lot happens, surprisingly, and a lot happens from a lot of different perspectives that not necessarily align. And I also can't completely figure out Sid's psychology, because he should know what's going on, is not just role playing, and it seems like he doesn't think it's all role playing, but the important stuff is. And if I could just have like a viewer's guide into his mindset and what he's thinking at every point, like what's happening in front of him, what it means to him, then I would be so much better off for it. But I get very caught up in it and I get confused. I still find the concept very funny and interesting, and while it does take a while for the joke to land, I think it makes up for the time it took, because usually the jokes are very well thought out, to me anyway. Again, comedy subjective. But yeah, I enjoyed the season. I think I enjoyed season 1 more, though, because I think there were far more jokes in season 1 and very memorable ones compared to season 2. But yeah, that's just me. Mason.
I think if you enjoy isekai shows, if you enjoy OP power fantasies, shows similar to Overlord or Slime and the like, I think you would enjoy Eminence and Shadow. I think it's an enjoyable experience that serves both as a playful take on the genre and being a true isekai power fantasy that it will scratch that itch for you. I think there were some well done moments throughout that I had to applaud, but the show seemed to rest on the fact that it is slightly meta, and it expresses self-awareness of it, and plays everything else so close to the trope that it feels like a generic isekai most of the time. Here's the thing. If I kick you in the shin, it hurts. If I tell you I'm going to kick you in the shin as a joke, and I'm going to wink and smile at you as I do it, it's still going to hurt. Because for all the self-aware Junibyo falling into graceness of the arc of Sid, show is just a body spray of Axe laid in perfume that does not mask the fact that it is, at the end of the day, just another isekai. And unless you're already endeared both to the fact of the giant fecal pillar of slop that is on your plate,
wow,
I can't recommend it. It's
Did you
just
say
more
fecal
isekai.
pillar? You say fecal pillar?
Poetry.
Can I ask you a question?
What's that?
Is a fecal pillar like when you're standing over the plate and it drops straight down and lands upright?
Sure.
Because normally
you imagine.
Yeah. Okay, I mean, because normally it would land like a fallen tree, right? Like on its side. But if it's
you would think so. But
okay,
it's
I just wanted to ask.
It's more mushy. We've been getting isekais for 10 years now, and this show is trying to be all clever about it, and it is just an isekai though. Like, I agree with Caroline. I think season 1 is better because it had more of that wink and a nod, and to be like, this is why it's funny that we're doing the thing that every other show is doing. Season 2 just becomes an isekai without much to it. And it took some of the most tasteless inclusions, such as the lazy fan service EDs, where we'll just put the girls in really lewd poses.
It's so
But it drifted away from the uniqueness and originality that it established. Like, even the best jokes of season 2 were just rehashes of the good jokes of season 1. So it became more standardized, more dull, and just more lackluster. And if you like those power fantasy isekais, it became more of what you enjoyed. And it had action, and it had fighting, and it had epic atomic moments, and you're like, yeah, that's so cool. But it lost all the slimness of the uniqueness that it had in season 1. So I was really underwhelmed by season 2. And that's just because I don't like these kind of shows, and it didn't do enough to make me enjoy it. So I would not recommend season 2 of Eminence and Shadow.
Would you recommend season 1?
No, not either, but I like season 1 more.
What?
Like, what did it do that other things haven't done better besides, like, if I don't like, let's say I don't like Bleach. Let's say I don't like Dragon Ball or Naruto. Let's say I don't like these long-running shows where they get in fights, and those fights last for arcs and arcs and episodes. If someone made Dragon Ball, but instead of fighting for good and evil, they gave Vegeta a little mole on his cheek, and the whole fight was Goku just trying to scrub it off with he thought it was like a contagious cancer and was just trying to like evaporate it. And they were doing all the same fights, but he just was fighting over a mole instead of good and evil. Like, yeah, that's funny and self-aware, but it's just, that's all there is to it. And then it's just more of the same show I already don't like. So I get why people like the show. It does a lot of things well. The team, the production studio seem to put a lot of effort behind it and seem to have fun. Sid is an endearing protagonist with his varied takes on the world and the way he fails into success and his extreme openness leads to humor. But yeah, just throwing a legion of women behind them that are just caricatures with just really uncompelling plot synopsises. I don't know. It just doesn't do it for me. So we can get into all this later, though. I wasn't a big fan. I'm sorry.
All right, Mitz.
It's a little hard for me because I have absolutely no fucking clue what's going on at all.
Yeah.
They started season 2. All right, so I have not watched season 1. And to be honest, people, this is what you get when you pass an anime for listener choice that you know we haven't watched already. And I am not watching 10 hours of anime in 1 week because that is absolutely impossible for me. It's literally a miracle to watch a 2-core anime in 1 week, let alone 3 cores. So I don't think they started this anime in a very good place. This is a really crappy place to start season 2. It literally drops right in the middle of like a battle. And it's like, I have absolutely no idea what's going on. And it's it's a little difficult to say if I'd recommend it or not, because as a standalone, there's absolutely no way you can watch this. So in that sense, no, I would not recommend it. And having not seen the first season, I'm just not sure. But my general take on what I saw is that I probably would not recommend this because it just hits like generic isekai stuff with better action. That's basically what I took away from it. It seems a little all over the place. A lot of fighting for about 3 episodes. You know, we're like talking about vampires and shit, which is what I thought the show was about anyway, because Eminence and Shadow already sounds like vampires, and then all this talk about like the blood moon and all this shit. So I just assumed it was a vampire anime, although that may not be the case. But the fact that they just the fact that it randomly turns into a vampire anime sort of for like 3 episodes doesn't really... I mean, I can see, having not seen the first season again, I can see this anime having a narrative that is a little all over the fucking place, and maybe you guys can confirm or deny, but it literally went from...
It's a little all over the place.
It's like vampires, and then we're back to like the real world, I guess, where these boy characters are acting way too obnoxiously anime. Like, no one behaves like this in real life. Like, it's like, can you imagine having
it's all parody. This is definitely not a show for actual life.
But a parody of what?
A parody of isekais, a parody of just trope characters. Like, literally, characters are kind of defined by the trope. Especially with those two boys. Like, they're basically friend A, friend B. That is how Sid treats them. That's how the anime treats them.
I mean, if I was talking to 2 people in a diner while I was sitting and eating, and they were doing, like, basically a dance routine while they spoke to me, like, everything they say has to be accompanied by, like, over grandiose full body gestures, I would just be like, get the fuck out of here. Like, you are embarrassing. And then it transitions pretty hard into like counterfeit money and all this. I'm just like, none of this stuff seems related. And I still have absolutely no idea what the hell to think of this, to be honest. And, it does have a lot of cute cat girl waifus in it, which I think is probably why people give a shit in the first place. Because cat girl waifus really go far. There was the scene where the guy was like walking, and the dark-haired cat girl who's in like a full straight-up bikini is like riding on his shoulders and dangling, and like leaning over to like look at him and face to face while she's on his shoulders, with her like straight-up massive tits just like dangling down into his face, and I'm just like, this is great.
I thought you would like Delta.
I mean,
she's like peak.
Out of all the Shadow Garden characters, I remember Alpha and Delta. Really,
as a cat girl fan, I was very aroused. I'll just say. So it was very that was very good.
Honestly, I think she's the most entertaining character in Shadow Garden, because I think she really has the most dialogue, especially in this season.
I think we should take all the dog girls, the dog girls, the elf girls, the cow girls, the all these other types of girls, and just turn them all into cat girls. We just need to lean hard into cat girls and go straight up. But yeah, in this anime, I'm not really sure, honestly. But from what I saw, I would probably not recommend it. And it's a very difficult to watch this when you don't have any background, because it's extremely hard to keep focused on something when you have no earthly idea what the fuck is going on. It's very hard to watch and just keep your focus.
Yeah. I don't blame you whatsoever.
Yeah,
it was hard to It's hard to figure out what's going on even for me, who enjoyed and watched all of season 1. So there was absolutely no chance for you. There was no hope.
I did mention this yesterday, but I think we should all have a private conversation about not allowing season 2s of shows we haven't already covered season 1 of. This could avoid this disaster altogether, but yeah. So,
but it's also massively popular. So,
well, yeah, but I mean, why didn't they pick the first season?
Because it was a good season.
It was a good season.
Okay.
But shall we get into spoiler territory?
Yeah, I think so.
While we play this drive, I'm going to look up what they did pick in this season.
Spoilers are coming. Oh my god.
It couldn't have been that good of a season because Do It Yourself passed. So let's find out. Are you
talking about the season 1? Oh yeah. Well.
Yeah, winter 2022. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right, where should we go here?
I don't know.
What do you want to talk about? The characters, the plot?
Yeah, what's your take on Sid? Like, do you like him as a main character?
Like him.
Yeah?
He's entertaining. I think he doesn't bother me. So he's just having fun, trying his best to portray this badass character, this idea of an Eminence in Shadow, which is just a concept in his head of just a really cool dude for justice. And he's so far out of his league. He doesn't know what's happening most of the time, but he just fakes it until he makes it. And somehow his faking it is just like an Uno reverse card that comes out to be the correct action. And it's funny seeing how his incompetence becomes reality. And I think that's the most engaging part about the show.
Me too. I was thinking the same thing. I explain it in my head. I don't know if it's true, but my theory is that this world is catered to what he thinks is real. And whatever he says becomes reality, even in retrospect.
It's essentially what happens. He just has so much magnetism and power that the fate of the world just goes down his, anointed path.
And I love it when it doesn't work out for him in the way that he wants it to. Like with the whole him trying to dismantle Shadow Garden's cover organization, which is I forgot what it's called. It starts with an M. Like
the Gamapu Boshi Mitsubo, something like
group.
that.
The group. And he's trying to dismantle it because he wants money. And that's all that's his driving factors in this entire the show. He just likes money. But and you would think that it would work out for him because that's how things happen to happen in this show, is that everything just caters to what he wants to happen. But in actuality goes against him, and he ends up getting no money from all this work that he does.
Yeah, it's a show about misunderstandings, which normally really irritates me when that's the source of comedy, where two characters just can't communicate. And, the gag is he thinks one thing, she thinks the other, and it never comes to pass. And that kind of happens in the show, but it's on such a massive level that there are so many people involved that are misunderstanding that it is actually amusing. And you have, the reason why the show is so all over the place is that Sid has become the head of this massive organization, and all of the underlings under him have developed so many different interests in different areas that he has to run around kind of managing their mishaps for better or worse. And that's why you start with a vampire arc, and then it has a currency arc, and then it becomes a rehash of the perv asshat arc from season 1. Like there's a lot of whiplash to this, and that doesn't bother me. That's part of the comedy. The problem is they go to this vampire arc and they just do fights against a vampire, and then they do a currency arc and it just fights against this corrupt alliance, and then they go to the perv asshat arc, and then it's just a rehash of that. So it's fine that they're jumping ship, and I just don't think they jumped the shark enough. I think they just don't commit to jokes anymore. I think they're just like, well, we have to have a really serious talk about how this financial system undermines this financial system. And it just became lackluster in some ways. It was predictable. The dialogue was so lame, so expository. Like, I love when they just talk about what's happening over a slowly panning newspaper shot. Like, there's just...
Yeah,
I
there was
don't
a
know.
lot of exposition in a lot of parts. And I know they're just trying to push things along so that they can get to the interesting part, or something that would be interesting to us. But with how confusing it can get, yeah, I was just like, okay, well, what's going on now? Let me pause and read this and figure it out.
And it's more about the jokes for me. And I guess in my mind, season 1 just had them peppered in like little gold nuggets more often. And here they were few and far between. You have funny quips here and there, like when Sid's two no-name friends, and by that I mean their name is freaking Potato, which is funny, but they're
Potato
like,
and Skeleton, I think.
yeah, they're going to the bathhouse, and they're like, oh, we've been reading this how-to guide by a master hookup artist who told us all the secrets on how to get laid by women. He was so like prodigious and
Count
successful
Virgin Boy.
that by the age of 30 they called him a wizard. Like, that's funny. That's clever. There's the ways that Sid's plans get messed up from people detecting his scent, or someone said, oh, I took care of it and buried it, and he took that to mean literally I buried the money when she was talking about something else. Like, there are moments of comedy, but they were just so vacant in these 12 episodes that I don't know, it just felt barren.
So it wasn't crazy enough for Mason.
It didn't lean into it. If you're going to be a parody slapstick, go goofy. Like, if you watch, I can't even think of a good example. Think of like Wayne's World. Like, every character in that movie is
Excel
so
Saga?
ridiculous and extravagant, but like, and you're like, well, they would never act that way in reality. Yeah, that's fair, but they're leaning so hard into making fun of the genre that they are doing. They didn't become what they were making fun of. And I think that's what irritates me, is that it just became a standard isekai. And I didn't come to that show for that.
By the way, this anime barely beat Yurusei Yatsura in the fall 2022 listener choice. Listeners picked Akiba Maid War.
That was a great parody. Talk about a great parody show. Akiba Maid War leaned into it was awesome.
Blue Lock and Spy Family. But
Yeah,
Yurusei Yatsura was right there with it. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not really one for parodies, honestly. I don't know. I'm not really into silly stuff these days. I haven't been for probably a couple years, and unless it's raunchy, in which case I like it, but anime comedy, it has never landed very well for me. There's a few shows that really do, like Golden Boy, which of course raunchy, so yeah, and a few others, but like most of the time, comedy and anime just doesn't land. It's too repetitive. It's too predictable. Anime uses the same fucking gags across dozens of shows, and it's just, I don't know. It's like when you hear someone tell a joke for the 14th time and your wife's rolling her eyes at you. Like, she's not going to laugh at the joke the 15th time. So that's a little how I feel about anime comedy. It doesn't do a whole lot for me.
That's fair. But for example, one of the best jokes of season 1 is this character, Epsilon, she is kind of self-conscious about her flat chest. She doesn't have as big as boobs as the other members of Shadow Garden. So all their powers kind of control this like liquidy black slime thing, which makes up their outfits and some of their powers.
So cool.
So
I love her. I love their outfits.
Every year, she slowly added a little bit more slime to her breasts, like a boob job. And it became like such a big part of her like identity. She's like, oh, I can just perfectly accurately mimic the bounciness and behavior and shape and everything of boobs. And she was so proud of them. And it's like, haha, classic anime trope. Flat-chested woman is like self-conscious about her breasts. Like, we've seen them a million times.
Yeah.
And it's not funny, but there's a moment where she's fighting and the enemy like takes a swipe at her and she like dodges back like the Matrix, and it just slices off her boobs, and they appear as two perfectly floating spheres. And she like quickly sucks them back in, and she's like, you guys didn't see anything, right? Like, that's taking the powers of the show and making a play on an old tired joke to make it breathe new life into it, make it funny, make it amusing. And they tried to do that again this season, and it just didn't work as well. It lost that charm that, yeah, it was a little raunchy, a little silly, but still fresh and engaging. And this season had none of that. Like, why? It was just now their boobs bounce when they talk, or you see Delta's boobs when she leans over. It lost the charm. It lost that magic. And I think the show looks mostly good, but there are moments that just really irritate me. There's this big, giant not corporation, this like royal family, and they have like a signature, a crest, and they put that crest on flags, and you can tell that the animation team just put it on as a JPEG and stretched it to match like a vertical flag, so like you can see it pixelate because it's more vertical
I never
than
noticed
normal.
the flags.
There's a lot of fight scenes where they hide the animation off screen. Something happens, so they don't actually have to animate it, but they do a cool sound effect, and then you see the result. So they're kind of cheaping out animation. They reuse shots a bunch, sometimes in a way that breaks sequence. So shot A happens, then shot C, then shot B, because they were trying to save on frames. Sometimes some character will attack with their right hand, and they'll be like, how dare you attack with your left hand? Like, it didn't align with what the characters were saying. Just continuity. It looks good for the most part, but some of it just kind of looked cheap. And I hate those EDs. Those EDs were...
I know. Like, I didn't actually I didn't actually watch them because I don't really like the whole... Like, they have to have substance for me to actually watch it. But then there was one that I actually watched most of the way through, and it wasn't even like a typical sexy pose. If anything, it was just really gross looking and uncomfortable. And I'm just like, why even... Can't you just do swimsuits or something and have all the Shadow Garden girls just pose?
We're going to reuse
in a normal way.
Oddly sexy, fetishistic pictures of them and use a lazy PowerPoint filter to either drop in puzzle pieces or water droplets so it slowly gets more and more exposed. Like, I get it. You don't want to spend a lot of time or budget on an ED. I'm with you. I've never made an ED. I can't do any better, but it just felt catering. It felt dirty. Yeah. I don't know.
I'm not gonna. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I'm looking at pictures of Delta, and she's probably the best thing about this anime. And I am now 100% sure that the fact that cat girls don't exist in real life is one of the cruelest realities that I've had to come to terms with. And I've never been more sure of that than in this moment. And I just wanted to say that.
Is she even a cat?
Yeah, I don't know what she is. I don't
like a
she's
fox?
got cat. I don't know. She's got cat ears.
Those aren't cat ears.
Oh, well, let me get back to you on that.
Ain't no cat ears.
I don't know that it matters too much, but yeah. Mm-hmm.
If it looks like a duck, if it quacks like a duck, it's a cat girl.
It has cat ears. It's
if we're talking about like just those good humor moments, I think the one I think about the most is from the beginning when Sid just hears something cool and decides to add it to his character and just repeat it and not even know what it means.
The moon is red.
Moon is red.
The hour of whatever descends upon us.
Frenzy is about to begin. And it's so stupid, but it's so good.
Yeah, no, I think Sid has all the makings of a really engaging character.
He's just so freaking dumb.
Yeah, but it works out.
But it's so good.
No, I think that's why I'm so irritated with the show, is because I see the potential. The groundwork is there. The framing of Sid and this whole organization to do his bidding can say so much and make fun of so many things. And I guess it just... I've said my piece. It just became isekai.
Yeah. Even though I do think the girls of Shadow Garden, like, I cannot tell you anybody's name except for Alpha and Delta. But
we'll just assume there's Beta and Epsilon.
Yeah, Beta,
and
Epsilon.
You'll get the
like, eventually, I remember some of them once they've been mentioned a few times, but then I forget them when they focus on a different girl. And then adding to the fact that they have all the named number girls, which we have not even gotten into yet, and then the numbers. There's a lot of girls, but despite that, the organization is freaking cool. I think their fighting is really entertaining, and their outfits. Need I say more? Yes, they're a little sexy, but come on.
Mm-hmm.
This is something I would want to cosplay. It's just so cool.
Yeah, they're cool. And I think I also give isekais a hard time because a character will get isekai to go to this fantasy world, and then it will play out like they're just in a fantasy world. Like, why did the isekai need to happen? And I will give the show props. Culture, arts, money, a lot of the systems from our world gets brought into this world. Like, it does make sense that it's an isekai because it's so, that carryover does happen, and I do applaud that. But it leads to just currency arcs, which are just not that engaging to listen to. So,
I thought Mitsuki would appreciate the currency arc.
I mean, it's interesting, but that's not really. Again, I don't fucking know what's going on. I don't get the sense that that's what the show's actually about.
No, it's not. But it played like half up. I think it was like half of the show.
It was 4 episodes. Yeah.
People don't care about. People don't care about anything that's serious. I mean, honestly, it's like if you made a show that's literally about money, it would just flop. Like Gouda Zeni, flop. Realist Hero, flop. There's a bunch of other shows about money, and I don't think they get talked about either. And if this show was
I think Realist Hero flopped because they talked about money.
Yeah.
There were several other things.
I don't think it helped, but, like if this show was just about counterfeiting money, people would not give a fuck.
Yeah, that aside, what was I going to talk about? Damn, I forgot.
Sorry.
Need to think about this for a second.
Oh, right,
yeah.
Go for it.
Well, we should probably talk about the fact that I heard that this was going to happen when I finished season 1, but it looks like they're going back to the original world that Sid is from, which I wonder how that's going to go in season 3.
Is this girl from the real world, quote unquote, constantly just being attacked and taken to storehouses?
I guess so.
Is it the same location?
It's the same one.
It's the same one. Is it supposed to? Is he coming back to the same time?
No, I don't think so. Like the world.
She's been kidnapped twice, taken to the same warehouse.
Oh, I don't know if it's the same warehouse.
That's what I'm wondering. So season 1,
I don't know.
The whole plot was just this girl gets kidnapped, and then this girl gets kidnapped, and then they do this fighting tournament, and then they do this fighting tournament. It was very samey. And this one, I think they tried to expand it a bit. But season 1 begins with Sid saving this girl from being attacked. And then the same girl he saves after coming back at the end of season 2. So I guess I'm wondering, is he saving her from the same event twice or 2 different events? That's all I want to know.
No, I think it's either 2 different events because she was monologuing and I think back to that very average boy and that night or that day. And that's what she's referring to. So this is another event where she's getting kidnapped, but it seems like it's for different reasons. Because I think the first time it was because she was an idol. This time she's some sort of savior. So some stuff is going
she's
down. She's
constantly being kidnapped.
Well, yeah.
Something's
going down in this new world, or in the original world. So what it is, I don't know. And we shall find out. Well, I shall find out. I don't know about you two. You two are probably going to be
probably not.
Running for the hills.
I probably won't stay up to season 3.
Yeah, I'm, yeah. What? Sorry? Where am I? Delta? What? Well?
So, I think I'm ready to score.
Yeah, it's hard to say because you've probably seen season 1 if you're watching this review. You know what you think of this show. Yeah, we can score it. We were running long.
Yeah.
Do you want to go first or you want me to?
I'll go first.
Okay.
So I will agree that season 2 was not as good as season 1, which is surprising considering season 1 was too core, and usually that plays against it. But I still thought it was fairly enjoyable. If you liked season 1, you're gonna like season 2 as well. I think I'm gonna give this show 3.5. The moon is red out of 5.
Yeah. I'll rate season 1 and 2 as a collective, because in my head that's how I see them in a sense, and if I didn't, the score would be lower. So you're welcome, Shadow fans. I don't know. There's just no genre commentary or character growth or writing chops. It all felt kind of predictable, and I think it just didn't do as much as I wanted. This is just stale. It's predictable. It's played out, and
It's
if
trash.
you like this, if you like this genre, if you like isekai, your plate remains so full, and I encourage you to feast with the reckless abandon of a buffet patron, knowing that the crab rangoons will be refilled tray after tray, and you can just keep shoveling the slop down your face hole. But for those of you who want not a reskinned and repainted fad of 10 years of isekai, I think you need more spice than a show with like this. So I'm going to give this 2 pantsless piano performances out of 5.
Man, that's terrible. But you were really high on the metaphors today, Mason.
I'm sorry. I'm trying.
You're trying to explain.
Yeah.
I understand.
So 3.5 and 2. And Mitsugi, what do you got?
I'm actually not gonna.
Maybe at least 2.5.
I'm actually not gonna score it. I don't think I really can, honestly. Given that I had no fucking clue what was happening at any point, this doesn't seem very fair. I would say that based on what I saw of the anime, it probably wouldn't get more than a 3. It just seemed way too chaotic to have. I really value cohesive, well-told narratives, which is why I think Vinland Saga Season 2 was an absolute fucking slam dunk, like backboard-shattering slam dunk. But this show, it doesn't really seem to have a very strong, cohesive narrative, and so I don't think it would have gotten more than a 3, probably. But I'm not going to score it. I just don't think it's fair. Delta's really hot. I'm all in on Delta. I'll give her a 5 out of 5.
Well, regardless, it'll get a 3 average. So
yeah, 5 scratches behind the ear out of 5 for Delta. And
that's what we should have done. Just reviewed the 7 shades, the 7 shadows, and just turned them out.
We could.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Sorry, I'm distracted still. Yeah.
Let's get us out of here, Karen.
It was well animated.
All right. That's nice to hear.
It was fine.
You're still hung up on the banners.
Those banners looked so bad. So many gaudy fan service shots. Get that out of here. I don't need that.
We'll keep the boob slicing. Thank you very much.
Yeah, please. The good old Christian fun.
Yeah. Well, thank you all for joining us. You can check us out on Twitter at AAA Podcast. We're on Facebook as well. You can join our Discord for watch parties and anime clubs. I think we were doing Haikyuu, the first 13 episodes of Haikyuu at Anime Club, the Wednesday after this one.
Hype.
March 6th?
6th?
7th? Somewhere around there.
I think
just go to our Discord, check the pin notes for all information on that. And yeah, thanks for joining us. We'll be here again next Sunday, 5 p.m. EST, live on Twitch. And we hope you have a fantastic day, night, whatever it is for you. Bye.
I think it's a hentai episode coming up, so don't get too excited.
Ooh, spicy.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, are we doing 100 Girlfriends next week? Yay!
Yeah, we are. Yeah.
Oh, this is gonna be fun.
I'm hoping at least 100 of them are cat girls. That would be good.
At least 100 out of the 100 girlfriends.
A whole litter, a massive litter. So
a cavalcade of cat girls.
Can you imagine cleaning the litter boxes for 100 cat girls?
Listen, I stayed on your futon next to your cat's litter box, and if it's anything like that, it's gag-worthy.
Wow. Woo! All right, that was just one
Mako
cat.
has some really stinky poops.
Yeah,
really stinky.
Yeah. He lays those bombs and doesn't cover them. That's his gift to you.
He can keep that. And
you're welcome, everybody.
All right, bye, guys.
Bye.